YouTube, what's happening, y'all? How y'all doing? Beautiful day today. How's life treating you out there? It's the 5th of February already. 5th of February already. Anything new been going on in your life? I've been talking to you since the beginning of January. Been encouraging you to take some action. Have you taken action yet? Don't keep thinking about it. You've been thinking about doing whatever it is you've been thinking about doing for a long time now. It's time to take some action. Time to take some action. Again, it's February. You know how fast these years go by. Don't contemplate doing anything anymore. Take some action right now. Whatever action you decide to take, you probably need a good credit score for it, though. You probably need a loan for it. Probably need to borrow some money to get whatever it is started. How's your credit score looking? Oh, you're not worried about your credit score? Let me tell you something. Your credit score is highly important to you in this world. On planet Earth, all you are is a number. Unfortunately, you're just a number. This world doesn't care about your name. This world doesn't care about your personality. This world cares about your numbers. The primary set of numbers they care about is your credit score. You need to protect and value your credit score like it's gold. Because your credit score is going to follow you from the day you're born to the day you check out of here. Speaking of being born, that's why you issued a Social Security number. Because that's all you are, is a number. When you go to school, you have a student ID number. That represents you. When you get into the workforce, you have an employee number. That represents you. If you have the misfortune of going to jail or prison, you issue a number. Once again, that number represents you. All throughout your walk of life, numbers follow you. Numbers represent you. Your credit score follows you. I understand that some of us have been placed in scenarios that affected our credit score dramatically at some point in our life. For some of us, we place those issues regarding our credit upon ourselves. because we just didn't care at the moment or at that time. We didn't think it was relevant that having a good credit score was important. We didn't think that what we did at that particular time in my life will affect us later on in life. Almost everything is based on your credit score. You have to protect your credit score. You might say, well, I don't really need credit right now. You know what I mean? I got the money to buy whatever it is I need to buy. Or if I need credit to buy a certain particular item, then I don't need it right now. That may be true to a degree. But at some point in time, you're gonna need a vehicle. May not necessarily be a brand new vehicle. But if you don't have the money to outright buy that vehicle in full, your credit score is gonna come into play. Because you're gonna need a loan or even a partial loan to get that vehicle that you're gonna need at that particular time. Oh, I got the money, I'm not tripping. I'll go buy cash for whatever, you know what I mean? It's nothing. That may be the case now, but later on in life, you're gonna need credit. You're gonna wanna have a polished up credit score. You own a home? If the answer is no, then you want to polish up your credit. Because if you plan on renting somewhere, the first thing they're gonna look at is your credit score. Believe it or not. If you're renting, not only do they want first and last and deposit, but they expect you to make 2 times the value of the rent, sometimes 3 times that amount. Not counting all your other bills. You have to bring that in off your paycheck 2 times, sometimes 3 times the amount of rent that landlord is requesting from you. But not only that, you better have a damn good, satisfactory credit score as well, on top of that. It's vital. I've heard people say, well, you know what? I'm not tripping on my credit score right now. You know, matter of fact, I'm gonna file for bankruptcy. Or I'm thinking about filing for bankruptcy, you know, pretty soon. Wrong answer. I encourage you to not file for bankruptcy. You don't want those problems. That's not a solution. And yes, you have every right to file for bankruptcy. President Donald Trump made that part of his lifestyle, filing for bankruptcy, over and over and over and over. That may have worked for him. Doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. He's in a whole different category than you. His upbringing was totally different than your upbringing. Do not file for bankruptcy. I encourage you not to do that. That bankruptcy will stay on your record for 7+ years. That's not the answer to your problems. The answer to your problems is to start getting those balances down. I don't care how much debt you have. You can get from underneath it. Start paying those debts off. You got yourself in that situation. Those debts will always follow you. It doesn't matter what company you originally owed the debt to. It doesn't matter if that company went out of business. More than likely, they sold that debt to a different debtor. And that different debtor is going to come looking for you. They may ask you to pay pennies on a dollar, the value of your debt. In that scenario, you don't deal with that new debtor. You don't answer any phone calls from them. You don't answer any emails from them. You don't respond back to them whatsoever. Let me advise you that I'm not giving you credit advice. I'm just giving you tips that I've learned throughout my lifetime. Because once you start dealing with that new debtor, the process starts all over again. You may have had an original debt with an original creditor for 3, 4, 5 years, for example. And in year 7, it may actually fall off your credit report. But if that original creditor sold your debt to a third party, and now that third party is trying to reach out to you to collect, the moment you contact them and the moment you acknowledge that you have a debt to begin with, you started the process all over again. It's going to continue to be on your file, on your record, within your credit report for the next 7 years, or until it's paid off. So if you're a young individual, and you may have been thinking, like I was thinking at one point, well, hey man, I've had a house before, or I don't even want a home right now. You know, that's years on down the line. So it doesn't really particularly matter, you know, what my credit score is today. Don't think like that. Don't think like that. If you have debt, no matter big or small, start eliminating that debt. Right now, today. Don't say I'm gonna wait 7 years for it to fall off. You're screwing yourself over. Because anything can happen within that 7 to 10 year period where it may or may not fall off your record. Again, you may be renting a home right now, renting an apartment, whatever the case is. However you got in there, you got in there. But the situation may arise where you have to get out of that apartment, that home, and look for the next place to lay your head. guess what they're going to look at first? Your credit score. So if you have not been paying on your debts, your credit score is very low. You can have a lot of debt. As long as you're continually paying on it, even if it's just a minimum amount, as long as you're continually paying on it, that's slowly going to increase your credit score. But if you have late payments, missed payments, no payments, you're bringing a world of hurt to your personal life. That's a hard situation to get out of. The worse you make it. And of course, the goal is to have zero debt. Zero debt. Everybody wants that. The goal is to have zero debt. However, you need to have debt to have a positive credit score. You can't just have a set of credit cards with a zero balance and think you're good. That's all you need to do. Having a good credit score is having credit that you're actually using. You're showing that you can control the amount of debt that you do have. You have to show usage. You have to use that credit card, whether it's for small amounts or large amounts. You have to use that credit card and show activity so that your credit score can be affected positively or negatively. You don't want to put yourself back in debt to the point where you can't get out of it, to the point where you can't make the payment each month. But even with a zero balance, you're still going to have to use those credit cards. You still want to have a personal loan of some sort. A small one. It could be a small one, $1,000. The trick I used to do was, let's take that $1,000 amount. I would go to my local bank, get a loan, personal loan, for $1,000. I may not need that $1,000, but as soon as I get it, I'm gonna sit on it. I'm gonna sit on it. When that first month's bill come, I'm gonna pay the minimum. When that second month's bill come, I'm gonna pay the minimum. When that third month's bill comes, I just might pay it off because I got the money put aside. I didn't need that money. I didn't use that money. But what I'm doing is establishing my credit. I'm showing positive credit history by making monthly payments on time. Whether you pay the minimum or whether you pay above the minimum. Even if you have the money to pay it off in full. If it's a new credit card, for example, let's say you borrow or you charge $500. You can pay that $500 off with your next paycheck within the month's period. You don't want to do that. If you charge $500 and you can easily pay it off, stretch it out for a month or two, possibly 3 months. You're showing activity with that particular creditor, with that particular bank. But it's very important to keep your credit score up, keep your credit score high. You gotta maintain that level. There was a point in my life, as you may know, I'm into cars. But it's hard to build cars when you have multiple cars off a paycheck alone. So there's times where I've had to use my credit cards to purchase things that I need for my vehicles. Or should I say want for my vehicles. And I put myself further and further and further into debt. But my train of thought at the time was, well, I'm not looking for a home right now. I'm not interested in buying a brand new vehicle right now. So it's not going to hurt me too badly to go further into debt. I'm not telling you to do that, but that's what worked for me. That's the choice I made. And for years, I've been paying on those credit cards in a timely manner. Years and years and years of time periods. No late payments, no missed payments. Always on time. That track record is what the creditor and the credit score system is looking at. Your track record. Are you reliable? Is your debt to income ratio too high? You don't want to have more debt than income. We live with debt. Every day we all live with debt. How you handle and manage your debt is the difference between having a low score and a high score. Getting a loan or not getting a loan. Finding a place to stay or being homeless. All boils down to your credit score. Despite the fact that I have several credit cards with debt on them, because of my track record, I can still get loans. That's possible. You can still get loans. With credit card debts, I was still able to get a loan for a vehicle. Because of my track record. Trying to get a business started? Guess what they look at? Your credit score. Doesn't matter what type of business. A moving business that involves vehicles, a stationary business that involves a storefront, doesn't matter. They're looking at your credit score. Very important to stay on top of your credit score. Always check it. Use something like Credit Karma. It's free. Stay on top of your credit score. You have multiple amounts of debt? Start paying off the lowest ones first. You got one for $300? Start knocking that out of the way. You got another one that's for $13,000? Pay on time every month. Work on the next one that's a little higher than that $300 one. If it's $700, start knocking it out. Continue paying on the other one that's $13,000. Don't miss a payment. Your credit score value will slowly rise over time. That's what you want and that's what you need. Again, you are a number. You're gonna need your credit score to be a positive number in this world to live, in this world to strive. Look at Japan. As a crazy example, each and every individual over there has a social credit score based on their works and walks throughout life. Are they a good person? Score goes up. Are they a criminal? Score goes down. Are they jaywalking? Are they stealing? Are they spitting on the ground? Anything over there lowers their social credit score. That's a whole nother level right there of credit score. I think at one point I heard the United States trying to start something like that. That's off topic. Credit score. Stay on top of it. Your debt to income ratio. How much debt do you have? How much income are you bringing in? You want your income to always be higher than the amount of debt you have. It's possible. It's possible. You get a little bonus from work? Consider knocking that credit card out, one or two of them, or knocking out a fat chunk of it out of the way. The more dents you put in those credit card charges that you have, the faster it's gonna disappear. Then it starts to feel good. It feels like a game at that point. Oh man, I'm almost halfway out of this debt right here. Then you get motivated. Man, what can I do to get this other half out the way? Well, if I sell this, or if I sell that, or if I go over here and make a little extra money, then I can knock that debt out the way. Boom. That's how you want to think. You want to think tactical when it comes to your credit score. Trust me, it's very important. And once again, a little tip I may have shared with you in a previous video. If you do need to get a vehicle, I'm not talking an extravagant vehicle, highly priced vehicle, but there's a vehicle that if there is a vehicle that you need to purchase out of necessity, try your best to get a personal loan for the amount of that vehicle. But when you go into that bank, you don't mention that it's for a vehicle. If that vehicle costs $25,000, you say, hey, Mr. Banker, I need a personal loan. I want to apply for a personal loan for $25,000. They may ask, what's the purpose of the loan? Give them some random answer. They don't need to know your business. Point being, if you get a personal loan, take that cash, buy that vehicle, pink slip is in your name. Pink slip is in your pocket, in your record files. You go to the bank and ask for an auto loan, you may have a different set of rates, interest rates you're gonna be paying. They're gonna force you to have full coverage insurance on that vehicle. And it may be a little bit tougher to get approved for that particular loan because it's an auto loan. So if at all possible, depending on the amount of a loan that you need, vehicle related, try to get a personal loan versus an auto loan. That's a free tip for you right there. I'm not even gonna charge you for that one. And again, lastly, if you can somehow deal with a credit union, that's gonna be your best bet for loans. That's gonna be your best bet for credit cards. Credit unions are more lenient towards their members. You're more on a one-on-one basis with the banker instead of just a number. Credit unions are sometimes a little tougher to become a member of. Usually you have to have a family member that's already a member, and they have to bring you on board with them. Or you can be solicited by a credit union. They may be having a promotion or something, and they're inviting non-members to become members. That's actually how I became a member of a particular credit union that I'm a part of. And that has worked out in my favor over the years, being a credit union member. I also have a traditional bank that I use. But again, certain loans, certain types of credit cards are easier to achieve through a credit union versus a typical standard bank. I say all that to say, you need to get that ball rolling. What you did in 24, we don't do no more. This is 25, we're about to strive. But it all starts with your credit. If you're gonna work on something, work on your credit. If you don't wanna work on that, work on getting that business started. Work on getting that side hustle started. Work on that YouTube channel. That could turn into extra revenue for you. Get it going. Some people need to be talked to in a stern manner. Don't take offense to it. I say it out of the kindness of my heart. Get it going. Quit playing around. Don't waste my time and don't waste your time. Remember, we keep it all the way peanut around here. Peace.